This is Ibrahim Cheruvu, also known as Ibrahim Bagh Cheruvu. Cheruvu in Telugu means lake. This historic lake traces its origin to the late 16th century when Ibrahim Qutb Shah, the fourth ruler of Golconda, commissioned its construction. This large lake was once used as a source of drinking water and irrigation. If we take a look at the map, the lake is now divided into two parts. The smaller section is known as Chinna Cheruvu or Neknampur Lake, while the larger one is called Pedda Cheruvu or Ibrahim Bagh Lake. Over the years, Chinna Cheruvu or Neknampur Lake has undergone partial restoration. Pedda Cheruvu, however, continues to face a very different reality. For decades, the lake has suffered from pollution, sewage inflows, construction debris, garbage dumping, and the unchecked spread of invasive water hyacinth. What was once an important water body has now gradually become a shadow of its former self.
Let's go down and see if
Recently, we took a walk on its lakebed. It was peak of summer. The water has almost completely vanished. The soil beneath our feet is dry and porous, showing little sign of moisture. Everywhere we look, there are signs of drought.
so this is lake bed actually. Water fills up here. Now it is summer, it's totally dry. You can see some red-napped ibis.
Over there, a group of red-naped ibises patrols the exposed lakebed in search of food. The remaining water body has been reduced to a few isolated puddles scattered across the landscape. Yet, even in these conditions, life persists. A few birds continue to gather around the remaining water. We also recorded wagtails, whistling ducks, moorhens, grey headed swamp hens, stills, to name a few among the variety of other birds. But compared to what we observed here last year, the numbers are significantly lower. Last summer, we have reported around 60 species of birds here, including the jacanas, egrets, glossy ibis, herons, lapwings, cormorants, bee-eaters, swallows, cuckoos, black-winged kites, etc. Today, it stands at one of its lowest points. The condition of Ibrahim Cheruvu is not an isolated story.
It's not completely dried. You see, it still has moist.
Hyderabad is often referred to as the city of lakes. Historically, thousands of lakes, tanks, and water bodies were constructed during Qutb Shahi and Nizam eras to support drinking water needs, irrigation, and flood management. At one time, the region was home to more than 3,000 lakes. Among the most important are Osman Sagar, Himayat Sagar, Durgam Cheruvu, and Hussain Sagar. Today, they form part of a remarkable water heritage that helped shape the growth of this city. But many smaller lakes have not shared the same fate. And that brings us back to Ibrahim Cheruvu. Is there a hope here? Yes, definitely. As the monsoons begin to settle over the region, the landscape stands on the threshold of change. The first rains have arrived, carrying with them the promise of renewal. The recent showers have already begun replenishing the lake, breathing life into channels that had remained dry for months. Even a modest inflow of water can set remarkable changes in motion. At the lake, the frogs are already back. Their calls echo across the wetlands, announcing the return of water. Water is precious. Even in its smallest form, it becomes a lifeline. A shallow puddle, a patch of wet ground, a few inches of standing water. To us, they may seem insignificant. to wildlife, they can mean survival. The gathering of birds around these tiny pools is a powerful reminder of how desperately life responds when water returns. Every drop matters. Every puddle becomes a refuge. Every sign of moisture becomes an opportunity for nature to endure. For a moment, the evidence of renewal is unmistakable, but rain alone cannot solve the problem. It cannot heal the wounds that have accumulated over years, and it definitely can't cure the disease. What Ibrahim Cheru needs is not merely a seasonal revival, but a lasting transformation, one that secures its future for decades to come. And that hope may be closer than ever. A significant opportunity for change now lies with HYDRAA, the Hyderabad Disaster Response and Assets Protection Agency. Following restoration efforts at several other urban lakes, the agency has proposed a dedicated restoration project for Pedda Cheruvu as part of a broader initiative to revive Hyderabad's water bodies. If implemented effectively, the project would improve water quality, restore ecological balance, enhance inflows, reduce pollution, and create a healthier habitat for wildlife.
ఇక్కడ కొన్ని ట్రీస్ ఉంది కదా లాస్ట్ ఇయర్లో,
అవును.
ఇప్పుడు కట్ చేసాను.
అంతా కట్ చేశారు.
ఎవరు కట్ చేశారు?
అంటే గవర్నమెంట్ వచ్చేసి ఇదంతా క్లీన్ చేయించారు. క్లీన్ చేపిస్తే ఇది చాలా పెద్ద అంటే లేక్ లాగా ఉండే. అయితే దీన్ని ఏం చేశారంటే ఇప్పుడంటే అది పబ్లిక్ నోటీస్ వల్ల అది జాలీలు అయితే పెట్టారు.
Restoration is more than just waste removal. It begins with understanding the land itself, the soil, the hydrology, the water flow, and the ecological needs of the lake. For now, Ibrahim Cheruvu stands between two futures, one shaped by neglect and the other by recovery. The question is not whether nature will come back, the question is whether we will give it an opportunity to stay. But how do we do it? Perhaps the most important lesson lies right next door. Remember Chinna Cheruvu? The smaller half of the original Ibrahim Cheruvu system. What was once heavily polluted, sewage filled dump yard was then transformed into a thriving urban wetland through the efforts of the NGO, Dhruvansh, local communities, and government agencies. The restoration of Neknampur Lake gained national recognition for its innovative approach to lake rejuvenation. Techniques such as phytoremediation, bioremediation, floating treatment wetlands, desilting, and systematic waste management helped revive a water body that had once been on the brink of collapse. The project was recognized by Niti Aayog as a model for lake restoration and watershed development. It is also acknowledged by the Center for Science and Environment as one of country's finest examples of lake restoration. At its peak, the restored ecosystem supported an incredible diversity of life. More than 130 species of plants, nearly 180 species of birds, mammals, reptiles, fish, insects, and countless other forms of life found refuge here. For many, Chinna Cheruvu stood as a living proof that even a severely degraded lake could be brought back to life through scientific intervention and collective effort. But the story doesn't end there. There's a twist in this beautiful tale. Despite the remarkable restoration and beautification efforts of the past, the absence of consistent maintenance and long term stewardship has gradually allowed the lake to slip back towards its earlier state of degradation. A video of Neknampur Lake uploaded to YouTube by Stefan Ponugupati about 5 years ago paints a strikingly different picture from what we see today, a lake with cleaner waters, healthier habitats, and a thriving ecosystem, all of which are absent today. The contrast is both inspiring and sobering. And that brings us to an important realization. Restoration is not just the end of the story, it's only the beginning. As we walk around the lake today, some of the features that once symbolized its revival are difficult to spot. The fountains that were installed during restoration are no longer visible. The floating treatment gardens still remain, but signs of renewed stress can be seen in parts of the lake. Patches of vegetation and water hyacinth once again cover sections of the water surface. Not because the restoration failed, but because every restored ecosystem requires continuous protection, monitoring, and care. And perhaps that's the greatest lesson for Pedda Cheruvu. As plans move forward for its restoration, the hope is not simply that the lake will be revived, the hope is that it will continue to thrive long after the restoration work is completed. Because a lake does not survive on funding alone, it survives through vigilance and collective participation of the community. The future of Ibrahim Cheru will not be decided by a restoration project alone. It will be shaped by the choices we make every day, how we manage waste, protect natural habitats, conserve water, and remain engaged in the lake's long term well being. The responsibility belongs to all of us. And if we succeed, the lake will once again become a sanctuary for a rich diversity of life. And importantly, our future generations will inherit not just the memory of a lost lake, but a lake that is alive, resilient, and that continues to sustain both nature and people for years to come.